we are going to talk about Conference USA. Why do
I'm
you
gonna.
have New Mexico State up there?
They may have lost most of their team to um Western Tennessee, but I still think they can. Like, and they lost their coach to Vanderbilt as well. I think just a new face was needed. Uh, in order, I mean, like obviously the coach had the program going, but I think making the full change, like him walking away, getting new players in, I think that changes the program a little bit. And I think they're just going to come out and surprise a lot of people because obviously there's tendencies, but I don't think that they're going to be on anybody's radar.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't paid attention to us before, we may be the biggest New Mexico State homers in Ohio,
Yeah,
but I'm
buddy.
glad to hear that isn't the whole reason behind your pick. I have to try to shy away from that a little bit. I went a different route here of my sleeper, and that is the Sam Houston Bearcats. This team, we started to kind of get on their bandwagon a little bit because they would just come so heartbreakingly close to winning games every single week, but losing them at the last moment. I mean, they did this all the way until November. They were the last team to get a win, but they broke the seal, finally got a win, and finished the season 3-1 in the last month. This team is, they figured it out now, and with a lot of people back, they're ready. They're ready for the FBS level now, and they're ready to take the next step and get towards I mean, maybe not contending for the conference title, but I think they're going to at least make a bowl game and maybe make their way to the top half of those conference standings.
Yeah, last year they did pretty bad, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, basically, they kept losing close game after close game. Like, they would have a lead late in the game and would find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, kind of thing. So, I mean, it was a struggle for them, but then they finished the season strong in the
Yeah.
last 3 games.
I
Or
like
last
Sam
4.
Houston. They annoy me a little bit in the video game because I have to face them so much. But I don't mind them.
Yeah. If the video game's any indication, I hope I don't butcher his last name. Gentry is going to be a problem for everyone because he sure was a problem for us. I mean, that guy ran for 200 yards in 1 quarter on us.
Yeah. So Justin sucks at the game. Just FYI, he's lost us 2 games so far.
I lost those 2 games. You gave me a massive halftime deficit, Matt.
That guy just ran all over us.
He really did. Actually, we did not lose that game, too.
I
I
know
actually
we
led
won
us
that game.
back and won that game.
Moving on, Justin, who's your bust of Conference USA?
Yeah, so I mean, it was very hard to pick a bus because I feel like the top 3 teams are kind of heads and heels above. Is that the saying? Heads and heels? I don't think that's right.
No,
They're above the rest of the
leagues.
field right now.
They're leagues
Leagues
above.
above, leagues above the rest. So it's really hard to pick a bust. But I looked at Western Kentucky and I realized there is one problem. And that is that they opened the season with Alabama. Now, Nick Saban's not there anymore, but I consider this the Alabama curse, or maybe it's just because you open the season with such a rough loss that things fall apart. But basically, every team that has played Alabama in the opener since, like, I think it's 2016 has failed to make a bowl game. I don't think it's going to get that bad for Western Kentucky, but it might be a reason why the season's below expectation for them.
Yeah.
I foresee also potentially losing to Boston College and Toledo out of conference, along with the Liberty Jacksonville State games, and maybe even one more in the conference play. So 6-6, I think, is where that would put them, and that is below expectation for this program.
Yeah, I think Liberty is gonna bust. I mean,
Whoa!
what's his name?
Whoa!
What's his name at quarterback?
Salter,
Yeah,
Katie Salter.
yeah. So I think he's gonna do okay, but like I think Liberty's just gonna fan the flames, so to speak. And I think they're gonna have a down year and kind of waste some talent.
Wow, that is a bold one. That is a bold one right there, Matt.
Yeah, shooting high, aiming high. I'm gonna get ripped to shreds on that.
All right, so if UC Liberty is a bust, you must have a surprise pick for your conference championship game.
Yeah, I got Jacksonville State over Western Kentucky.
All right, yeah, going with the Gamecocks. Rich Rodriguez leading
Yes,
them to power. I
Rich
am
Rod is
high on.
building another West Virginia, but even further south.
I like what he's building out there, and I too am really high on Jacksonville State this year, but I just cannot pick against Liberty. I mean, they rolled through this conference last year. I suspect they'll be the same this year. They also get their two biggest contenders, West Kentucky and Jacksonville State at home, which is going to be key. They still have a lot of talent up there. Salter, Cooley, running the ball really well. Defense is a little bit of a question mark. If there's a weakness to pick at, it's going to be that one. But I still see Liberty winning this conference, going undefeated in conference play. Now we'll have to see about non-conference play because they have a tough challenge against Appalachian State. So that brings me to another topic here, and that is their schedule. Outside the Appalachian State game, most people would qualify their schedule as weak. Matt, how do you think this impacts their playoff hopes?
I mean, you want strength of schedule, but they're G5, so they're already barely considered for a spot. So they have to fight their way up, and playing weak competition could leave them out if they don't win Conference USA.
Yeah, I think it puts them in a position where, and to be fair, this is not their fault. I'm not going to call out which specific team it was because, basically every power conference program that was on their schedule, as soon as they joined the conference, they were pretty much like, yeah, so you're in a conference now and you don't need this game anymore. So goodbye. We're out of this game. So part of the problem was that, several of the power conference programs they had, I'm pretty sure it was like 5 or 6 of them in like 2024 this year, or sorry, 2023 this year, 2025 and 2026. Like, several, like at least like 5 to 6 of them just bailed out of the games for that. So that kind of puts Liberty in the weird spot where being undefeated may not be enough to capture that G5 spot. They may be passed up by a one-loss Sunbelt team, a one-loss Mountain West team, one-loss American team, something like that.
Yeah,
That's the
Conference
tough part.
USA is competitive, but it's not that good.
I think there's a reputation around it, and I mean they can change that. Liberty needs some help in the rest of this league.
Yeah.
They need Western Kentucky to pull off those games against Boston College and Toledo. They need Jacksonville State to show up against Coastal Carolina, and maybe even the game we're going to pull off an upset against Louisville. That would be really huge if Jacksonville State were to do that.
I am rooting for Jacksonville State for the sole reason of Rich Rod. Like, I really wanted to be Jacksonville State in the new game, but for some reason my brain was like, "Hey man, Georgia Southern's better." Um, but the, I could see Louisville losing that game. Um, I feel like they kind of do one of these ups and downs. They'll beat a team like Notre Dame, but then lose to a game like Jacksonville State.
Yeah, or
Um,
even like the Pittsburgh game last year for them.
yeah. So I can see like Jacksonville State winning that game, but honestly, that game for us is going to be so much fun. I don't care who wins, um, as long as we get to experience some glory.
Yeah. Jacksonville State fans, I do have a shirt, so I will be supporting Jacksonville State in this one.
Yeah, Justin was
Um,
supposed to come back with some gear and only came back with gear for himself.
I didn't find it anymore. But moving on here, now let's talk about FIU with Pitbull. Pitbull Stadium is now a thing. Watch out the rest of Conference USA. You don't just roll into Pitbull Stadium and expect to come out with a victory. What do you think about that, Matt?
I think it's a good business move, but he pulled out of NASCAR to do this. So really you're only getting the revenue more than likely you're only getting the revenue for those games that are played. I don't know of any other sports that are held in that stadium, but like I don't think he's going to make a whole lot of money on this deal. But I mean, it's cool for FIU. It brings national attention.
Yeah,
They were
I mean,
all anybody ever talked about for like 3 days.
you could say that he hit the transfer portal from Trackhouse Racing to FIU. uh, oh my. But I think FIU needed this. You know, outside of their one really fun week of the year where they do Vice Night, it's really a program that's lacked an identity. And, you know, this has given them something. You know, finally got them out in the national attention. I think some people will finally stop confusing FIU and FAU. But so it was huge for them. I think it was really big for them. And, you know, I'm excited to see what it'll bring to FIU football. So one last topic here before to put a bow on Conference USA. Let's shout out our brand new member of FBS. They're down at the bottom. We haven't talked about them yet. Kennesaw State Owls.
Who?
Woo.
They're in the wrong conference. They need to be in the American, but we'll let it slide. Welcome to college football, Owls.
Yeah, very excited to see what they do. They're a bit of a mystery team because they pretty much just, you know, outside of like playing 4 games, they pretty much redshirted everyone on the roster and kind of tanked last year. So, you know, to prepare for this year. So it's really hard to see what to expect. I mean, I think the default was just to put them in last year in this preseason poll, but, you know, who knows? They
Watch
could
them
surprise
just
a
be an
little bit.
absolute powerhouse.
I mean, the funny thing is just to see like them do like what Jacksonville State did last year. It would be hilarious to see that happen.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Jacksonville State wouldn't like it because, you know, they're rivals, but it'd be a lot of fun for us to see.
Oh, 100%.